not foolish enough to see that the Pikes would eventually take over the whole planet.
Apparently I missed this confusing statement in the last episode. Thanks for the assist previously on. The more appropriate phrase is, they are not foolish enough to not see that the Pikes will eventually take over the whole planet. So now that's two sins because it's wrong in 2 episodes. Book of Mando.
You look lost.
And it looks like you have your office in a f***ing meat locker. We can't all be perfect.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
This version of the I can bring you in dead or alive cliche lacks clarity and could be misinterpreted as I can bring you in with or without hot cocoa. Also, biting someone in a fight is a sin for sure, but is he biting Mando's thumb or the gun? Because it looks like he's biting the f***ing gun. Who would even do that? Even Mike Tyson wouldn't do... Well, okay, I guess maybe Mike Tyson would do that, but surely no one else would. I want to remove one sin for the sheer joy I experienced at the deployment of this lightsaber, but I also have to add a sin because Lucasfilm knows what I want, is giving it to me, and I feel dirty. Also, a non-Jedi with no training brings a saber to a gunfight, and it f***ing works. Despite witnessing the failure of his co-workers as they just attempted the same thing, Caba Baez shoots the heavily armored individual in the armor to no effect. Mando is a dick to tables. Show deprives me of seeing this structure in its entirety. I've got so many questions. Like, why does the ring have a gap? Is it still under construction? Is this part of the space zoned for multifamily residential? Staring at someone on an elevator. Elevator rides with other people are awkward enough. Don't make it weirder. Learn the etiquette. Part of me is loving this entire sequence, but the other part of me feels like I ordered a Book of Boba Fett sandwich. So far, all I'm getting is a slathering of the Mandalorian, a few slices of Halo, and now a sprinkling of Mass Effect. Just saying, where's the Bob? Only one platter and 2 sides of these orange balls no one wants to touch. This hardly looks like a feast, and it also looks like everyone's finished eating already. So this is really just an invitation to attempt a conversation while being the only person at the table eating. We all know this just ends with people watching you chew and you feeling weird about it. Being willing to sit calmly and feast when someone sets a decapitated head on the table. I don't care if that shit's in a bag, it still smells like a decapitated head. It's really unfortunate this leg injury didn't happen earlier in the year. Mandalorian insurance isn't great, but it's better than nothing. However, when you get in that donut hole, it's very hard to get out. Am I right? Based on the average age of our viewers, I'm guessing most of you will understand this joke in about 40 years.
All this talk of the Empire, and they lasted less than 30 years. Mandalorians have existed 10,000.
In the first 12 minutes of this episode, it's felt like at least 15 years. So your point is what exactly? Also, history lessons.
I am told it is the dark saber.
This blade's position goes on for some time, just to give us a bunch of metrics by which we're supposed to determine whether Mando is or is not the one.
Whoever wields it can lead all of Mandalore.
If it is won by Creed in battle.
I mean, I haven't seen Michael B. Jordan in this episode, but I guess he could be showing up later. Seems more likely at this point than Boba Fett showing up.
Mandalore will be laid to waste, and its people scattered to the 4 winds.
Later, the show goes on to describe events that make it sound like Mandalore has already been laid to waste. So it kind of seems like it doesn't matter who has this thing anymore.
Death would have been justice for his atrocities.
This is true.
The armorer is that friend that shows up after you've moved all the heavy pieces of furniture. So, you're hanging out with all these tools in the previous scene, put them back in, are now whipping them out again? And the forge wasn't even operational.
It can also pierce Beskar armor. Its mere existence puts Mandalorians at risk.
These Mandalorians really like talking shop about singular weapons. Maybe if they thought big picture, they'd still have a planet.
Those born of Mandalore strayed away from the path.
This footage makes it look less like they strayed from the path and more like the path was obliterated by suborbital bombardment. Discount War of the Machines.
Only those that walked the way escaped the curse prophesized in the Creed.
Seriously, did Disney buy the Rocky franchise or something? Because if you're telling me the Rocky movies are now connected with Star Wars, I have become at least 2% more interested in this episode. I've also become 7% less interested. Math was never my strong suit. Also, this prophecy talk prophesizes for all the sometime.
What shall I forge for the foundling Grogu?
A better name? She hammers the end of the spear a few times and then quenches it, and voila, we have tiny metal rings. Whoever thought that we wouldn't be more interested in this entire process has completely overlooked the success of Forged in Fire. Also, the suggestion here is that this will be some sort of chainmail, but we aren't even allowed to see the finished product yet, and I don't like being frock teased.
I am focused.
The blade says otherwise.
Blades can't talk.
It was forged by my ancestor, founder of House Vizsla.
Then why didn't you bring this up earlier? This future fight feels forced and filler-esque. In fact, let's just give it 25 cents here because while I'm always happy to see Mando, this entire episode seems like a desperate attempt to force feed us a new Mandalorian episode so people would keep watching Boba Fett, minus the Boba and the Fett.
Din Djarin, have you ever removed your helmet?
The Mandalorians sure do like rules, and I guess I get that. It's just that this helmet check really derails the momentum of this scene. It's like someone whipped out a challenge coin.
I'm sorry, sir. You can't board a commercial flight with your weapons.
No one will be seated while Mando goes through a TSA checkpoint. Kids, when you miss someone, you see them everywhere you look cliché. Wally's cousin pops up on screen. Don't get me wrong, I always love meeting a new member of the family, but Disney, you're getting very close to creating a cute and lovable droid cliché. Also, creating a cute and lovable droid to tear my heart out when it gets eaten by a predatory animal. Also, why is a predatory animal trying to eat a robot? There's gotta be so little nutritional value in those things. What is she even shooting at? The creature's gone behind the engine block. She's just wasting ammo, and Peli doesn't strike me as someone who would be wasting ammo.
You can't say no, you're a droid.
Indentured servitude. Show goes down the route of making spaceships seem to have the same complexity as muscle cars, suggesting that anyone with enough gumption can repair or rebuild one.
Don't worry about the shape and size. Just get the parts you want, the specs you need, and I'm gonna make it work, all right? I dated a Jawa.
I don't see how your dating record makes you more or less qualified to modify spaceship parts. Detail that seems lost on The Mandalorian. A literal and metaphorical indication of Disney's desire to shove weird creatures into every orifice of this franchise. Sparks equal fixing.
You hit this button, you're gonna evacuate your exhaust manifold, if you know what I mean.
Title of my sex tape?
Ever since they've been moving spice through the system, everything's gone to hell.
I'm not concerned with the obvious comparisons to Dune. The problem here is that my imagination immediately puts the two franchises in the same universe, and I can't decide now if I do or don't want that to happen. The panel that had Mando all confused before is no longer on the ship.
That's a lot of engine for a little ship.
It's also the wrong engine noise for a spaceship. I think they put a little too much internal combustion in their J-type pulse engines. These flight maneuvers around this ship look really awesome and do give the space police a reason to pull him over, but this seems reckless and oddly out of character for Mando.
Are we reporting this? You want to go back to base and fill out reports all day?
Even in a galaxy far, far away, excessive paperwork is the hurdle between doing and not doing your job.
Those J-type pulse engines really tighten the old evacuation port, don't they?
Show takes a second shot at this excretion joke, and now I'm left wondering if there is a meaningful difference between the exhaust manifold and the evacuation port.
Tell him it's on the house. But first, I gotta pay a visit to a little friend.
I usually don't care for these spin-off episodes, but I really enjoyed this character. I hope he gets his own show. I gotta know who that little guy is.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Well, looks like you finally got your crossover episode.
And in my club, I will splash the pot whenever the I please.
I know this song.
What do you know of this blade?
This toasts bread while you're slicing it.
The blade says otherwise.
For this test, sir, it will not kill.
I have.
Then you are a Mandalorian no more.
Yeah, I got the memo, and I understand the policy, and the problem is just that I forgot the one time, and I've already taken care of it, so it's not even really a problem anymore.
What a piece of shit. Ever since they've been moving spice through the system, everything's gone to hell.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Now this is pod racing.
How's the handling?
Man, this baby must corner like it's on rails.
Tell him it's on the house. But first, I gotta pay a visit to a little friend.
Say hello to my little friend.